Hi, Toastmaster Art here with you again as we near the end of our educational journey, courtesy of the Toastmasters International Better Speaker Series. Recall that we started this series with the focus on how to make you, the individual club member, a better speaker. Thus far, we have selected a topic and crafted a well-organized speech, complete with a great beginning and conclusion, based on our knowledge of the audience. With a quality speech ready to go, the next step is to prepare for the big day when the speech is presented. Let's find out how to do just that with preparation and practice. Truly accomplished speakers spend the time needed on their presentation to make it a work of art that will be delivered in a professional style. Then they practice and practice and practice some more. A fellow club member who made it to the 2016 International Speech Competition semifinals confessed that he practiced his speech several times each day in the weeks prior to the contest. Most of us can likely tell, as a member of an audience, who has and who has not sufficiently prepared and practiced his speech. Here are the 4 major preparation categories that Toastmasters International suggests we consider. We will look at each in more detail on the following slides. When you know in advance where everything and everybody is, your comfort level is, hopefully, increased. How will you get to the stage or speaking area? How loudly will you have to speak to be heard in a room of this size with the number of people expected? Scoping things out in advance results in less to worry about when it's time to present your speech. Not only should you know how to properly use a microphone, you should know when the use of one is worthwhile. The first 3 points here are conditions which warrant the use of a mic, while the last is something which is directed at you, the speaker. If you are going to have to speak very loudly to be heard, your voice might be strained, depending on the length of the speech. Ask for a microphone set up in advance if you feel the need. More things with which you should ideally be familiar prior to the speech. Is the room at a comfortable temperature? If not, both speaker and audience won't be as focused as they might be otherwise. Is the lighting adequate, such that the audience can see you throughout the speaking area? If someone enters the room during your speech, will it interrupt or distract you, such as the case where the entryway is near the stage? Does the venue have a plan to prevent latecomers from entering the room during a speech, such as is the case during a Toastmasters contest, at which those present are also prohibited from leaving the room for similar reasons? My club used to meet at a tavern across the street from a firehouse. We couldn't do anything about it, but once in a while the engines raced off to a fire, sirens blaring. Know in advance what to expect and have a plan to deal with those things. If people can't see the visual aids you are using, you're going to suffer come evaluation time. Visual aids don't have to always be slide presentations. I've seen a couple speeches where the speaker slowly moved from one side of the speaking area to the other, holding up an 8.5 by 11-inch piece of paper with his simple exhibit on it. Each member of the audience was able to see the visual aid, and the speaker was able to continue with his description of it during his traversing of the stage. Sometimes it just makes more sense to give people a handout, especially if you want them to take home more information than they can glean from your slides and speech. Folks can make additional notes on handouts, and that can be very helpful, especially as it allows them to remain more focused on you, the speaker. Try to visualize your speech in your mind. If it's a story type speech, play the film in your head, and the words will come. If there are certain phrases in your speech that really have to come out a specific way to achieve their purpose and be top-notch, commit them to memory. There are many suggested ways to rehearse one's speech, such as by recording it or performing it to yourself in front of a mirror, but try to make each run-through a complete one, rather than stopping midway and starting again. That way, you reinforce in your mind the structure of the complete speech, rather than fragmenting it. As you run through your speech, timing and practicing it, make a note of edits to be made. But don't implement all of these hopeful improvements at once. If you are putting the final touches on this speech with, and practicing it before, your mentor, get her feedback on each improvement you make, whether it be the addition or removal of material. If you're going solo at this point, no mentor, consider making a video or audio recording of your speech for self-evaluation. The Creating an Introduction module focuses on the crafting of an introduction for use by the Toastmaster or your introducer at a non-Toastmasters meeting. Include a brief mention of the topic, why the speech is being given, your name, spelled out phonetically if it tends to be mispronounced, and the speech title. Don't take the stage wigged out on caffeine or on a beer buzz. Be limbered up and stretched out in advance, with enough food in your belly to prevent it from grumbling, and enough water in you to keep dehydration and dry mouth at bay. Try a visualization of the entire performance. You're introduced. You give the speech in admirable fashion with a great conclusion, and the audience reward you with waves of appreciative applause. This might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's been said by some that taking this approach adds to one's pre-speech comfort and confidence levels. Kelly Sargent, who placed third in 2014 in the Toastmasters annual World Championship of Public Speaking competition, was the keynote speaker at the 2015 District 38 Fall Conference. And in her presentation titled The Journey to the World Championship, she shared many tips on good speechcraft. Her first tip is the color coding of your speech once you have completed the draft and printed it out. Use highlighters. She suggests yellow for humor, green for gesture, orange for oratory or vocal variety, and pink for performance. I hope you noticed the first letter correspondence between each color and the item marked, such as green for gesture, and go through the whole speech, highlighting one color at a time. The pink performance bits are parts that are acted out. Rather than saying, he said X, she said Y, you act out the two people conversing. The second tip is her list of 5 components to a winning speech. The first is that you have a personal story that the audience can relate to. Number 2 is entertainment. 3, lessons learned. 4, have a hook or a takeaway, like her Goodbye Wi-Fi slogan. Number 5 is to have a powerful close. Last, she encouraged speakers to be transparent or authentic, passionate, confident, and enthusiastic. It's easy and perhaps typical to get so focused on the content of one's speech that the presentation aspects are given insufficient attention. You can have a super speech, but it will still be an overall failure if people can't hear you, your slides are too crowded, you don't involve the audience with interaction, body language, vocal variety, and gestures. You don't know your audience in advance, and you talk about something they don't understand or care about using language they don't understand. My point? There are many ways to fail. There are many facets to the construction and presentation of a quality speech. Unless you're really good or really lucky, these things take a lot of work. Give your speeches the appropriate amount of preparation and practice time so that you are not wasting your time or the audience's time when it's time to make your next speech. To be notified when additional educational presentations are uploaded, please subscribe to this channel. I hope that you were all edumacated today. Educating and thus bettering my fellow Toastmasters is a passion of mine, and I am here to help if I can. If you found this presentation helpful, why not leave a comment or send me an email? Visit the Division G website at the address on the screen for more helpful resources. Hey, make it a great Toastmasters day. Go G, Mr. Toastmaster.